Dun, 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 dun. Good evening, faithful viewers. I got a new video plan for today. This is my top 5 favorite voiceover actors ever. These are just some of the ones that I like the most and mostly admire. And yes, I know that there have been other voiceover actors that came before and after these guys. But you are right. So anyways, these are just going to be based on my opinions. And I'm sorry that I stuttered a little bit. And I'm not sure how well this video will do. And I'm not sure if I might do like another one soon. Depending on how busy I am. So anyways, let's get this list on the road. Number 5, Tom Kenny. Best known for his voiceover work as the Ice King from Adventure Time, Plastic Man from Batman, The Brave and the Bold, the Funky Phantom from the Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated episode, Mystery Solvers Club State Finals, and the same character again from Season 1, Episode 2, called A Mystery Solving Gang Divided, from Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, and probably his most popular character ever, and that everyone knows, is SpongeBob SquarePants. Yeah, it's pretty obvious that that's the character that Tom Kenny is known for. One of the most coolest underwater sea cartoon characters ever. Right up there with Jabberjaw and Aquaman. Who I know he's kind of like more of a human, but that's besides the point. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that he's also the voice of Dog from Cat Dog and Heifer from Rocko's Modern Life. I almost forgot to bring that up. Thank goodness I didn't forget, or else a lot of people would be mad at me. Tom Kenny is one of the most talented voiceover actors ever. Because, like I mentioned, he's still working on SpongeBob SquarePants right now as I'm recording this right now. I think they're probably up to like... I didn't even bother keeping track of how many SpongeBob SquarePants seasons there are. Probably 20 plus seasons right now. Oh boy. Who knew that SpongeBob SquarePants would be the most popular show that Tom Kenny has worked on? That totally outbeat Rugrats. Which I am aware about. Well, speaking of which, for the number 4 spot, we got Cree Summer. She's an African American voiceover actress who worked on a lot of shows in our lives. Sorry, I messed it up. Cree Summer is an African American voiceover actress who has done so many voiceover work for plenty of cartoons that we've known, like Elmira from Tiny Toons, Foxy Love from Drawn Together, Penny from Inspector Gadget, Go Gadget, Helicopter Hat. I'm sorry, I had to do my Inspector Gadget voice for this one. And I think she's best known as Susie Carmichael from Rugrats and All Grown Up. And as I'm recording this, there is a Rugrats CGI reboot right now that's still being worked on as I'm recording this. And I'm actually glad that Nickelodeon is able to revive some of the old shows. Invader Zim, Hey Arnold, and the aforementioned Rocko's Modern Life is one of them. Now, funny enough, I think Cree Summer has done a few live action shows and movies before. Like, I remember I saw a clip of her making a guest appearance on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which I will admit that's pretty interesting that she used to do some live action TV work in her career. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It is pretty common for most voiceover actors to appear in a few live action TV shows or movies, depending on which studio owns them. And Cree Summer counts as one of them. And I know that she does do voiceover work for other cartoons. And I think she did like minimum voiceover work for Scooby-Doo. I think it was like 2 different episodes of Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. Though I can't remember which one it was, since it's been a while since I've seen that show. Let me know down in the comments below what those episodes were. Cause I know that I think you guys know what I'm talking about right now. And Cree Summer, if you're watching this, you're the best. You're like one of the most talented voiceover actresses ever. Even if you were starring at a bad movie or TV show, you're at least trying your best with what you're given. Which is a common thing for most people to go through in Hollywood. Especially actors. Always try your best with what you're given. No matter what the results is for that certain TV show or movie. See what else. And funny enough, whenever Cree Summer does a character voice, whether it's Penny from Inspector Gadget, Max from Batman Beyond, or whatever, some of the characters she voiced almost sound a little bit similar. And I think that's based on the character's voice tone. Whether it's very high, very low, or somewhere in between. I think it doesn't matter. It could go either way. Okay, number 3. Candy Milo. Candimilo. Her name is spelled with an I, never with a Y. Now, I have been familiar with her for a while. Candy Milo became the current voice of Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory in some of the later seasons. She was the voice of the Flea in Mucha Lucha. I had to remember the name of the title of the cartoon since it's been a while. She was the voice of Ophelia Ramirez from Juniper Lee. And funny enough, she even did a few voiceover work for the Scooby-Doo franchise. She was the voice of Crystal and Amber from Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders. She voiced Charlene and the tour guide from Scooby-Doo and the Monster of Mexico, which we would end up finding out later that Charlene and the museum tour guide were the same person. Sorry that I spoiled it for you guys. And she even voiced Christy's mom in Scooby-Doo Stage Fright. So yeah, I guess you could say that she has some involvement with the Scooby-Doo franchise at some point. Which, to be fair, that's pretty neat. And I can't think of what other character roles she's been in. Yeah, I mentioned Scooby-Doo, Juniper Lee, Mucha Lucha, and the later seasons of Dexter's Laboratory. But for some reason, I can't think of any other cartoon show or movie that Candy Milo worked on. Like, did she ever work on other shows and movies like Justice League, Looney Tunes? What? No, maybe it probably doesn't even matter anyway, because there are probably like so many other characters that she voiced that I probably wasn't even familiar with. You know what? I think later I might find out what other cartoon shows and movies Candy Milo worked on, besides the ones that I mentioned just now. And Kenny Milo, if you're watching this, let me know. Because the only ones that I knew you from was Scooby-Doo, Mucha Lucha, Juniper Lee, and Dexter's Lab. Wait, I forgot. Were those the ones I mentioned? I think so. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, we got three. That was 3 down. 2 more to go, go, go! Well, before we continue, it is great that I'm doing another top 5 related video. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I'm getting used to these top 10 related videos. Anyways, getting sidetracked. For number 2, we have Grey DeLisle Griffin. Now, she is one of the most beautiful voice actresses in the history of animation. She did plenty of voiceover work for Danny Phantom. Probably minimum voiceover work for the Looney Tunes show. And Rugrats. What else did she do? For some reason, when I knew that she voiced Betty Rubble in some of the Flintstones at WWE, Stone Age SmackDown, Jane Jetson from the Jetsons and WWE Robo WrestleMania, which I actually have right here on DVD. Which is a film I might need to rewatch since I only watched it once. Well, I know that she did the voice of Black Canary in Batman the Brave and the Bold, which is kind of funny considering how there was a Scooby-Doo crossover movie about it, almost back in 2018, 6 years ago. For some reason, I'm drawing blanks. Oh, never mind. I'm not. Grey DeLisle also became the voice of Daphne Blake in the Scooby-Doo franchise. And I do believe that the first time she voiced Daphne was in the 4th direct-to-video film, Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. I gotta admit, to this day, and after working on this, she continued to become the permanent voice of Daphne Blake for all the future Scooby-Doo related projects. And I guess she even made a guest appearance in Scooby-Doo and Guess Who? Along with Frank Welker, Kate McCutcheon, and Matthew Lillard. Now, I'm not sure if she did any other live action work in her career. Let me know. And I know that she did the voice of Lazul in Avatar: The Last Airbender. I hope I didn't butcher that line. And I think she voiced the superhero in the Superhero Squad show, which was kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon of all of our favorite Marvel characters or something. Yeah, I think you guys pretty much know what I'm talking about right now. Yeah, and there are probably like other voice cartoon characters she voiced that I may or may not have heard of. Besides the ones that I probably mentioned the most. I probably mentioned some of the iconic ones, like Daphne Blake from Scooby-Doo, Sam Madison from Danny Phantom, for example. But for some reason, I'm blanking on starting to draw blanks on some of the other characters. Oh, wait, now I know, she even voiced Mandy in The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Wait. Yes. And this is probably this is what I'm talking about. Actually, I own this the Billy and Mandy's Big Boogie Adventure, which is the only piece of Billy and Mandy merchandise I ever own. And I guess some people would think that a crossover between Scooby-Doo and Billy and Mandy would work. And I guess so, considering how Mystery Inc. teamed up with Courage the Cowardly Dog before, and Johnny Bravo as well. And I do know that Billy, Mandy, and Groom appeared in an episode of Teen Titans Go where they celebrated the 100th anniversary of Warner Brothers. And I'm a bit sad that Greg Griffin didn't voice Mandy in that episode. Oh well, sometimes you can't win them all. But it probably would be. Would be neat to see Billy and Mandy team up with Scooby-Doo and the gang. Either as a TV episode, movie, or a comic book, or a video game. Maybe that something like that would happen, considering how there was going to be a live-action Scooby-Doo series coming to Netflix, which I did make a video about that recently. So I guess I was able to remember some of the recognizable characters that Greg Delisle Griffin has voiced. Which isn't a bad thing, to be honest. Okay, now for our number one spot. And this one is actually more of a two-way tie between two of my favorite voiceover actors ever. And they just so happen. Hold on. And they were even involved with Scooby-Doo at some point. I think you guys know what on earth I'm talking about. And that, of course, is my number one favorite voiceover actors is Don Messick and Frank Welker. Now, these two are like the most recognizable voiceover actors ever. Right up there with Mel Blanc and some of the other voiceover actors I mentioned. They did voiceover work for Transformers, Aladdin, Ghostbusters, Frankenstein Jr. and the Impossibles. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Flintstones, The Jetsons, Dynamite, Dog Wonder, Jabberjaw, Wheelie and the Chomper Bunch, Laugh Olympics, and the aforementioned Scooby-Doo. Yeah, we know that Don Messick was the original voice of Scooby-Doo. And fun fact, Frank Welker wanted to voice Shaggy, and Casey Kasem wanted to voice Fred, but they ended up getting the opposite parts. I'm glad that Frank Welker and Don Messick collabed together to work on almost every Scooby-Doo franchise ever. I mean, sure, Frank Welker didn't voice Fred much in some of the Scooby and Scrappy-Doo series during the 80s, but that's besides the point. In fact, to this day, Frank Welker is still working on HBO Max's Velma, even though it ended on a cliffhanger during the second season, and there might be a conclusion in a couple of months during Halloween. So I guess we better stay tuned for that. But I'm getting sidetracked. Frank Welker did voice Fred's dad in HBO Max's Velma. And sadly, Don Messick did have a stroke around 1997 and sadly died. But thankfully, the people who was working on Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island wanted to dedicate him, which that is actually the nicest thing anyone has ever done for Don Messick, having to be dedicated in a Scooby-Doo movie. Which makes sense considering how Don Messick is the original voice of Scooby-Doo. And this wouldn't be the last time that Don Messick was somewhat dedicated in a Scooby-Doo / Hanna-Barbera related project. Because for Muttley's Laughter, they had like archive recordings of Don Messick's original Muttley laugh from Wacky Races, which I will admit, that is pretty cool. Not to mention they even had archive recordings of Don Messick's Space Kook laughter. And there was even a part of the film where Dastardly and his robot minion starts heading for Messick Mountain to find the third skull of Cerberus. Messick Mountain is a direct reference to Don Messick himself, which I will admit, that is even more cool. So we had like 2 different Scooby-Doo projects to have Don Messick be dedicated, which I will admit, that's pretty unique. Now, I'm not sure if Frank Welker was somewhat aware of that when he was still being the current voice of Scooby-Doo for the 2020 film Scoob. Probably not, but I'm sure he must have saw the film at some point and must have catched it and must have been like, no way! That's actually pretty cool that Don Messick was being referenced as a mountain at some point. Or something like that. I don't know what his reaction was when he saw that. Now, and if I was born like several decades earlier, like say sometime around 1973 or 1980, I probably would have had a chance to meet Don Messick in person. And possibly Frank Welker, since he was still alive. Now, speaking of Frank Welker, I might have mentioned this on Ashton Hardy's YouTube channel, or JB and Millie, that I actually met Frank Welker for the first time during my second year of GalaxyCon in 2020. In fact, I think I have like a photo to prove it, or something. Hold on. Aha! Got it. See? This is the one. That's me as Dynomutt Dog Wonder standing next to Frank Welker himself. And you guys probably can't even see from a distance. Is that better? yeah, I'm glad I kept it as a souvenir. And before I wrap things up, I will let you know that I did meet Tara Strong for the first time. I mean, not this, because this year was the second time I met her. I think this was in 2022. I was dressed up as Frankenstein Jr. at the time. And I think a year later when I met Marty Grabstein, the voice of Courage the Cowardly Dog, I even got this signed autograph from him. And I had a little photo of him on my mom's phone. So I guess Marty Grabstein and Tara Strong getting a shout out will count as honorable mentions, if that's okay with you guys. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching my top 5 favorite voiceover actors ever. And I know that the number 1 spot was still a tie, but hey, you can't blame me. I'm sorry that I got a little bit off topic about the number 1 spot. Just thought I'd bring out some evidence to prove it, in case you guys don't believe me. Well, anyways, thank you guys for watching, and stay groovy!